know you said it was an ugly game, but there's no such thing as an ugly win. It was just one more win, almost, I guess, aside from the Wyoming one, where you see the grit, you see the resolve. Just looking back at the steps that you took for the team to have those traits, is it more just stressing them in practice? Is it more off the field activities that has brought those character traits into this?
Yeah, I'd say it's a combination of it all. It's just, what we're trying to create. We're trying to create guys who are confident in what they know, who play the game really hard. And at the end of the day, the more you invest in something, the harder it is to quit, the harder it is to get down like quickly. So the more you put in, the more fight you have in you. And I think our guys are putting a lot in right now, and that's why in these closer games up to this point we fared pretty good. One game we'd like to have back in a close game, but other than that, we fared pretty good in the close games. And I don't know the stat right now of one-score games in the Big 12 or upsets in the Big 12, but there's no such thing as an upset in the Big 12. Like, there's not a such thing. There's just another game. That's bottom line. There's no favorites. There's no non-favorites. It's another game versus another team who can beat you and repeat for 9 weeks in a row.
Chris Carmen, some of the source. Kenny, I'm sure that you rewatched all of the officiating decisions in that game. I'm just curious about any feedback that you got or additional thoughts that you have about the targeting and some of the other things.
Yeah, the targeting ones I kind of said after the game. Those are that's out of the officials on the field's control. And by the letter of the law, with some views that they see, they say it's a clear targeting. So there's really nothing, whether we like it or not, is more of a rules problem. Do we want to reassess the rules in the off season of maybe, like we talked about, there are different levels of targeting that allow you to come back in the next game and not be suspended for a week or so, or for the following first half. But by the letter of the law, they believe that it's targeting, and they got a good look at it. Other things on the field, I'm a rules guy, so I ask a lot of questions as to why certain things are called certain ways. And yeah, I had some questions about things that didn't go our way, and I've had conversations with the Big 12 about it, and they've been really respectful to get back to me with fair answers, but I don't want to disclose those publicly.
Anything about your post-game interview on ESPN?
Yeah, I remember everything.
He was like this guy. You were like, no, this guy, and then you guys kind of ran off together.
And then I said that guy, and he said this guy.
It was just this really cool moment in college sports, and it seems like college football, everyone's trying to grow up. It's almost become professional sports. How important is it to have a moment like that after?
Yeah, I mean, that's what coaching's about. I mean, that kid's put in so much work, and like I said, he's worked and worked and worked and worked and worked, and he prepares like that every week, and that was his best week of prep. I think I said it in here that he was really clean. Us being able to show him all the looks 2 weeks in a row, I think really helped him. And then he went out there and performed. I mean, we had uncharacteristically, 3 or 4 drops, depending on how you look at it. Otherwise he would even have a better game. And the fact that he was poised at the end of the game was kudos to him. And then, like I said, that moment right there is just natural. There's no fake about it on either side. It's just the culture we're trying to build here is, you do things for other people.
Just to follow up real quick, when you were hired, you said you guys are going to have fun. At the same time, when you were hired, everyone made a big deal about how young you were. Was there any temptation at all to try to say, you know what, I have my program now, I have to act a little bit older than my years, act a certain way, or were you always certain to just be who I was the way to go?
Yeah, I've tried that whole be something different for like 6 months at another school, and it failed miserably. It probably wasn't even 6 months. It may have been a month and a half. I tried the whole let me be what all these other coaches are, or what you're supposed to be, or quote unquote. But that's never worked for me. I mean, I'm a goofy little guy who didn't play college football. I mean, if I don't act the way that I am, everybody's going to see right through it, and it's not going to work anyway. So I better just be genuinely who I am all the time. And it may not be like the model of what success looks like in college, but I do believe it's the only way that I can have success and we can have success is if the person, steering the boat believes and is genuine to who they are.
Mike, Max.
Coach Mike Wilson, Sports Byline Radio.
No relation to the Wilson we were playing this week?
No.
Okay.
No. There's a lot of question, Sam makes the game-winning toss, end of the game. You guys are celebrating, after the game, and people can see the trust that you're gaining with Utah coming to town and Utah being Utah and physical. How do you kind of temper that a little bit with him? Or do you even try and temper it, just kind of let it grow even more?
Yeah, you don't temper it. You just keep growing. And like we talked about today in meetings, it's about us. It's about us. We still, other than the first half of Wyoming, which was, I think I said it was one of the best halves of football I've been associated with, we haven't played a clean game. At least haven't. And I think that's the challenge for our guys is let's go play up to the level we're capable of. Right. And that's not even with getting better. Like if we just stayed the same and played to the level that we were capable of in the last few weeks, we're going to be a tough team to beat. And then hopefully we're also getting better and then going to go play to our capability. But we still haven't done that. But with Sam, he's just going to get better every week. I mean, I think I've said it 2 weeks in a row, but this is the worst he's ever going to be. That doesn't mean he's going to have a bad game. He's going to. I'm going to coach a bad game. I'm going to suck again, right? One of these weeks when I come into this press conference, that's the nature of the sport, right? But as long as at the end of the day, that meter's going up by the end of the year, then I know we're going in the right direction.
Max, and then
Hey, Coach, Max Pitt, Arizona's family. Speaking of Isaac Wilson, Kyle Whittingham said today that when it comes to Cam Rising's health, he said, we'll see what happens this week, but there's a chance. Are you going in fully prepared that 90-95% sure that Wilson's going to be the guy you see on the other sideline on Friday? Or if Rising is going to be thrust in, finally returning after all this time, are you going to have like a backup game plan necessarily for that situation?
Yeah, we're going to prepare for Utah. And, Cam's one of the best quarterbacks in college football. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in college football. He's one of the toughest players in college football. I think anybody who questions Cam Rising's toughness needs to go watch him play the game of football. And I think you'll put to rest the question on Cam Rising's toughness. So we're preparing to play Cam and Isaac. And whoever we play. But more importantly, we're preparing to play us. And we have to be the best versions of us on Saturday, and that's cliche and corny, but it's the absolute truth.
And bouncing off of that, what have you seen from Wilson in his performance 2 weeks ago against Arizona, and what necessarily do you feel like are his strengths necessarily? Would you struggle with against the Wilson?
Yeah, so we lost. We recruited him. I mean, he was one of our top guys. I mean, I built a relay. I played chess with him. You can ask him about our chess match here. I beat him here. And then he beat me on chess.com, so he got me back. He got it back. And I shouldn't have beat him. He should have beat me. He's really good, actually. But he's a smart guy. He's savvy. He's confident. He extends plays with his legs. Obviously, I mean, he had to go on the road to start in Stillwater. I mean, good. I mean, and they found a way to win the football game. So kudos to him. But he's just a very confident guy back there. Like I said, he extends plays, confident, can make all the throws. That's why we recruited him. So I know the bye week, what it did for Sam, is going to do the same thing for him. If he's the guy, they're going to find a comfort in him, find what he's good at. They're going to double down on what he's good at. They're going to play to his strengths coming off of a bye with a younger quarterback. So I think we're going to get a better version of him, or we're going to get one of the best quarterbacks in college football, Cam Rising. Either way, we have to play Utah. And their brand of football is if you can't stop the run, it really doesn't matter what anybody else does. If they rush the ball for 6 yards a carry and they stone you, right? Everybody else in the field they're just kind of there, waving a towel. It's all about the physicality of this football team and the culture of the football team.
Damon, Colin, Logan, Doug, and Sam.
Well done.
Hey, Damon Allred, Arizona Sports. What are the early returns on Sam's footwork this week, and what are the next steps for him in his development?
I think he was just, I know he said some really fancy, I had no clue what he was talking about. He was more balanced, he's a little bit of a hopper, which is fine, but he was definitely more balanced as opposed to lunging kind of earlier in the year, more on his back foot. I don't know what he said. And I think it provided him to be more accurate. I think because he was in balance more, he wasn't overstriding because he wasn't lunging. And it's very, very simple. Think about a baseball player that's always leaning forward, right, versus a baseball player who starts balanced, right? Everybody can relate to that because most people swing a bat. And I think it's only going to do him justice. And the best thing about Sam is he's a self-corrector, so he can see things, he can feel what's wrong, he can feel himself do something right, and then he can correct it on his own. Obviously, you as a coach would love to say, like, I fixed things, but Sam's super intelligent and he cares. And most of those times, those guys are just as much self-correctors when it comes to their own fundamentals as they are, a coach fixing it or some waving a magic wand.
Kenny Cullen, our name's 15. Beyond just the waiting for standings purposes, kind of the macro the importance of winning in an atmosphere like that, it's one thing to get people there, but to capitalize on that, especially with another big one. I mean, what's the importance of that for you?
Yeah. Oh, it's huge. It's huge for getting people back excited about ASU football, getting people back in the stands to be something that people are like, were you at the game? Were you at the game? Did you see the game? I think it's such a small thing, but when you can be involved in those questions of were you at the game? Did you see the game? Right? I think that just multiplies week by week. Were you at the game? Did you see the game? Did you see that play? Did you see this? Did you see that? I think all of that just excites people. And when you're living in one of the largest cities in the country, you don't have to hit 50% of the people in this city to not have to be an ASU fan to activate the Valley. We need 10% of the city to be an ASU fan, and this is going to be one of the craziest environments in sport. In college, if 10% of the people are like, dang, I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of that environment. I want to bring my son or daughter to that environment. And I think this Friday night, will be a fun test. You got a 4-1 Utah team versus a 4-1 Arizona State team on a Friday night on national television, right? The country's going to see what kind of support we have for our football program. Every recruit in the country is going to see the kind of support we have for our football program. And every recruit's going to look at that, or they're going to show up and they're going to say, man, that place is rocking. Or they're going to say, not a lot of people there. And I know that's weird, but that's the absolute truth.
Logan, go ahead, Colin. Yeah, another one.
Yeah, can I just follow up real quick? I know you mentioned the scheduling stuff post game on Saturday. Did you get any clarification at any point, like in the summer even, from the Big 12? I think there's only 2 schools that face this scenario this year of why that happened.
Yeah, I'm sure I didn't. I'm sure there's a good reason for it. I mean, I'm sure there's a good reason for it. To us, it's a challenge. I mean, at the end of the day, we're in year 2. I mean, it's not about shortcuts. It's not about the easy way out. Everybody wants to win now, and I want to win now. Trust me, it's much more fun to win than lose. But it's all about the process. It's funny because you show up and, we're one play away from this being the complete opposite press conference. But one play makes this a positive press conference. One play the other way, and we're horrible. And are we going to get over the hump? And look how hard it's going to be to make a bowl game. And, oh, you guys started so hot. What happened? If you get focused on the result over and over again, right, you're in trouble in this deal. You better just be focused on your process, have belief in what you're doing, and stay focused on it, because you're going to win or lose games that you should and shouldn't. And if you're worried about that, that should be how you feel after the game, not what you're worried about.
Logan's gonna go down, but you put a video of Cam on kickoff. How do you describe the importance of having a player like that when he doesn't kick offs?
Absolutely critical. We joked around because he wasn't on kickoff, the first kickoff versus Texas Tech. We're 4-0 when he runs down the field on kickoff. And that seems comical and laughable, but it also is a mindset that, like, our best dudes are in it. Like our best dude, like set your jaw. Our best dudes are playing this game in every facet. So I think kudos to him for, being that for us in terms of, games on the line, run out on kickoff. Put your best players in there, run out on kickoff. And I know there's probably a lot of people that think we're crazy for putting them on kickoff, right? There's not even kickoff in the NFL. Why would you put him on kickoff? Well, I'll tell you what, that kickoff play is going to get him drafted. Not just his ability to play football at running back, but when a scout and when a team sees a running back add versatility in more way than just being a running back, and they see his toughness, they see his competitive drive, all of that stuff adds up to help you get drafted and help you have personal success along with team success. And it's funny that most things you do that help the team actually help you personally as well. But you get so distracted by what the world wants you to be personally that you lose focus that people are drafting players to join a team. They're not drafting players to play singles tennis. So if you're the best teammate, if you add value to a football team, the odds of you going higher in drafts, the odds of you being picked up go up. And I think that right there, that play is going to be a lot bigger to Cam's career at Arizona State, but even beyond than people realize.
Sammy, Chris, and Blake.
Coach, last year you guys went to Utah, so you had 55 loss, biggest loss of the year.
What was the score?
55-3.
One more time.
55-3. What do you see as the biggest difference between your program then and now?
Yeah, we're just, year two. Like I said, last year we didn't have any depth. We couldn't practice. We were a 7-on-7 team, pretty much the entire year, and we gradually just got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, which is unfortunate in year one because you should be trying to get better. But if you wanted to field a team last year, that's the only way we could. And this year we have enough depth that, I believe in the spring we got stronger, and then we could practice, and we got tougher, and we practice hard. We still have 24-period practices. Right? There are teams that do that, and I know the exact teams that do it, or most of the teams that do it, and then there are teams that don't, and there's not a wrong way or right way, there's just a way I believe. And I believe that how we practice and the toughness that goes into those practices, you're starting to see on Saturday. And I think the weight room is starting to show up on Saturday, especially, our D-line is doing a good job stopping the run right now, and our O-line kind of got back to the identity of getting off the rock, in which I kind of pulled them away from for a few weeks when I scared them with too much scheme and too many ghosts. So.
Kenny, Malik McCain did not dress that game. Is there anything on him? And also, what have you thought about just kind of your backup wide receiver situation?
Yeah, so Malik, we're going to try to redshirt. So the plan is to redshirt him. Obviously, he came in late in this process, and he's a really good player. But he has a year left, and he's still learning the system, and he missed some in the summer for a variety of reasons, going back home and stuff like that. So we didn't feel like we were doing him justice playing him 8 snaps, 12 snaps a game as he was getting back into it for his final year. So I met with Malik. We talked about it. Does that hurt us a little bit this year? 100%. He was a really, really good depth guy, as you alluded to. But for him personally, I definitely think, and for us in the future, I definitely think it's a win-win for him and for us to get him back. It does put a little stress on our depth because we did lose some depth. And, the depth there is, we have the 6 guys that we're going to roll with. You have the guys that are always on the field. We have the Jakes, the Troys, the Melquans, the Jordan Tysons, the X's. You have the Derek Yasubios. Those are really our guys that we're rolling with. And then if, bad things happen, we'll reassess it from there and go from there. But I'm not going to chase too many ghosts with, if we get past 6 to 7, if we have to get to that 8th range, then, we'll chase those ghosts when we chased them.
Blake, and hey, Coach Blake Nathan set up the source. She wanted to dare another touchdown last week and served as a nice strength for the offense. What have you seen from his impact on in the system and moving up the
Yeah, he definitely is great with the ball in his hands. I think one of the things he does that people don't really give him credit for is he's a really, really, really physical blocker. Very physical blocker. If you just go watch him play the game of football, he plays the game extremely violent, extremely physical. And I think that's one of in today's day and age, when most teams are 11 personnel and everything's about, can your tight end block an end? And every defense says, my D end will never be blocked by your tight end. if you can, create ties at tight end consistently, you're going to open up creases. And that's a guy who's not just catching the ball well, but he's blocking his butt off right now. And he's a joy to coach, man. Like, absolute joy to coach. I mean, he's one of the funnier dudes on our team. He was always smiling. He's got great energy. He's always battling through things. Like, I'm extremely happy. We got very lucky to get him just in terms of the time we get him to fill a major need, and I'm glad he's part of it.
Doug, Damon, Jordan.
It's Doug Franz, Unplugged.com podcast. Go back to your Cam on special teams, philosophy-wise. I remember Will Sutton on special teams, so I know Todd did it. Is it something you picked up from him? Is it something that other coaches didn't do and it galvanized you to do it, or does it go all the way back to Chaparral?
I think it's just special teams is important. And I think in order to get buy-in, you have to have whatever your best players believe in is what your team believes in. So I think your best players have to believe in the vision. And if the vision is we're going to win the margins and we're going to win the tiny points in the game, right? Because most of the time nothing gets returned on kickoff. Nowadays the ball's kicked off from so short of a range. Everything's a fair catch anyways. But it's the mindset that, I'm going to run down, sprint 50 yards, and make a play if needed. And I think that's just something that I've acquired over time, just talking to multiple people, and something I believe in, playing your best players on special teams. And he doesn't run down every kickoff, but the fact that he's willing to do it and he does do it with a passion is critical to us.
To lose the turnover battle 3-0 if you count the blocked field goal and the defense not give up any points off those, what does that say about their toughness?
Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, it really was. I would love to find how many times Arizona State's won a game losing a turnover battle by 2 and then getting a field goal blocked. I mean, less than 5. FBS opponent, I bet you it's less than 3. That's not something that happens very much. And the fact that we found a way. And that goes back to when you put so much into something and your guys are vested and they believe, I think regardless of what happens, you see our guys always doing this, and all that means is like, don't worry about what's happening, respond, stay playing our game. And I think that response showed up when you saw Jordan Tyson respond. Our defense respond after the takeaways. You see Clayton Smith on the TV copy celebrating with Jordan Tyson after he's been ejected for the targeting. That was just a crazy play in general, right? That was unfortunate. You see Keyshawn Elliott, one of the first guys in the end zone after X slams the ball down. Sometimes those guys get disengaged because they're not playing, and it's all about them playing. Our guys that were even, kicked out of the game for whatever, those reasons, were very, very engaged, and they were actually one of the first people to celebrate. And I think that right there, even though you don't want those guys ejected, that right there is, I think, why we won the football game.
Last couple of questions. Jordan, Brian,
Because Shortham Sports 360, you talk about the process of building a program. When you look at what Coach Witt has done at Utah, what lessons can you take from him as you're starting that journey compared to where he's been at?
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of study, how they got to where they were in terms of the recruitment process and how they never won recruiting. Like up until this last few years, they never quote unquote won recruiting. They were never in the limelight. They signed the guys that they thought were the best players that fit their team. And then they repeated it. They didn't chase guys. They just trusted what they believed they wanted. They didn't care what other people thought, and they signed those guys, and they built a culture of toughness. And I think one of the best things that he's done there is he's established a culture, but then he's retained staff. And whatever he's done, I don't know how he's done it. When he retires, hopefully today, we can have a conversation about it. And I'd love to pick his brain on what his secret was to retaining staff, to saying all these guys that have been offered all these jobs and they still want to be there and work for you. Like, what was your secret sauce? Because right now, continuity, I think, wins in college football. I think continuity is an ace in the hole in college football because with the portal, coach doesn't recruit you, you start over. Like, if your coach leaves that recruited you, then almost everybody on your team leaves and you start over. and then you repeat and you repeat, and it's really hard to sustain that success. However, he's managed to not have as much change as most teams, and I think between that and the culture he's created, it's really incredible what he's done there. And I hope to, in 5 to 10 years, we can hopefully look and be like, okay, we have sustained success, or we have sustained an upward trajectory for similar reasons.
Hey guys, Brian Myers, Devil's Digest. You guys had a much more improved week on the ground this week, having over 300 yards for rushing. What do you have to say about how that kind of like continues to impact you guys winning, and then how do you continue that going into a tough game against you?
Yeah, obviously running the ball. My last press conference, I think I said if you can run the ball with normal numbers, right, you should be good. If you can run it when you're down a hat, you're going to be great. And if you can't run it with good numbers, you're in trouble. And I think we ran the ball when we should have been able to run the ball this week. We had good scheme. We had good leverages. We won blocks. And we got on the free hitter more than we didn't get on the free hitter. And then everybody did their job. And I think that's just kudos to not just the offensive staff, the players, right, the backs. Like, that takes a village. Great scheme, executed poorly is bad scheme, right? Bad scheme, executed great, is still not good either, because there's going to be a free dude there. It's got to be everybody from coaches to players, all in belief of what we're doing and all executing when you're talking about running the football at a high rate. And it's huge for the football team, obviously.
Jake, last question.
Hey, Jake Simmons on the source. Last year you called Utah the gold standard of Pac-12 football. You talked about how that was an aspiration you wanted your program to have. So where do you feel like maybe the progress has been made for that goal? Do you feel like Friday can be a measuring stick to see where you guys stand up?
Yeah, I definitely think we're going in the right direction. I mean, at the end of the day, we've won 4 games. That's more than last year, so obviously we are getting better, right? But, we could go on a 7-game losing streak, and how's everybody going to feel? You know what I mean? You're only as good as today, bottom line. And this game is so, I said it earlier, it's crazy because 1 or 2 plays, you're a 0 or a hero, bottom line. And today we're heroes because those 2 plays went our way, and tomorrow we could be zeros. And this is a great measuring stick for how physical of a football team we want to be. I definitely agree with that. But I don't think it is a measurement on the season. I don't think this is like this is the game that's going to be the difference. Every game is like that. Sorry. It doesn't matter who you play. You either going to win the game or you're going to lose the game, and you're going to feel equally as bad either way, because you should either blow a team out, and if you lose that one, that's really bad, or you get blown out by a team you should. That still feels really bad. It happened to us last year versus these guys. So it's a great measuring stick of where we're going, but the secret to them is not what they've done in a given year. It's what they've done over a period of time. And the only way to, when I say they're the gold standard, it's the consistency they've created. And the only way to measure consistency is to be here long enough to see if we can match that consistency, not if we can play them in one game. And that's what I mean by when I said last year that they're the gold standard. It's the consistency that program has year in and year out, and you know what to expect is rare. And it's what hopefully we can build is not one team, not one game, not one great moment, but the consistency of year after year after year. So I think that's a great measuring stick in 5-6 years from now, right? To come back, you'll have to come back from wherever you're at and ask that question and say, okay, now you've played them 6 years later. Do you feel like you've created that consistency that you wanted, that they were once the gold standard of?